Today, Benchmark's installing a 16-inch water main down Cottage Grove, one of the main roads here on the south side.
So this specific job goes from 60th to the north all the way to 67th Street to the south, almost a mile of pipe.
Depth started at about 8 feet. Now we're working our way back up to about 6 feet because we had to go under a ComEd package.
We've encountered an old rail track in our way. It's right in our center line of our pipe. So we have to remove that as we go. And then there's also railroad ties underneath that. It requires another step because we have to separate that to go to a separate dump.
We got to separate the wood. Wood's got to go in a separate pile. We literally got to work with each other, try to keep things separated, and just try to keep a pace going. But obviously it's kind of hard with dealing with the railroad tracks.
I walk the job myself to see where possible conflicts are, and then I also send my bottom man and my top man down to do their own observation of the various utilities we may cross, and they circle everything in pink on both sides, so if they can't see it, the operator sees it, so there's a lot of coordination. Everyone kind of knows where all the utilities are on the block.
A gas service is typically what we cross mostly because it encroaches into the street, across the street sometimes, depending on where we install our water main. Sometimes it's in between where the gas main is and the house is. So we're gonna have a service that comes across our line of way. So the biggest thing that we rely on are timely locates. When we call in a dig ticket, that location has to be marked 48 hours after that. We give them more time just to be safe. So when we get out there, we need to start working.
Locates are important because without them, you don't know what's in the ground. It creates many hazards, electric, gas, people can get hurt.
Abandoned facilities we find from time to time, but I mean, sometimes we don't know that they're abandoned or not. You might have on a residential street, not so much an arterial street because they're usually bigger services, but the residential, you'll have a live service, but then you'll also have 3 other services around it, and you may find one that's off the mark, and that might be the dead one, and the one that's on, vice versa. And we just like to keep everything in the ground. I like to talk to my guys to make sure we don't rip out anything out of the ground we don't need to.
The infrastructure information that the gas company supplies us is very important to us because it gives us another set of eyes other than the locator to double check the paint marks that have been put on the ground.
Well, we had a situation where there was a 2-inch gas service with 20 pounds per square inch inside that pipe, supplying a large commercial building here that was 8 feet off the mark. 8 feet off the mark.
Luckily we hand dug it and still found it because we had the caution tape, but the caution tape was still 8 inches away from where the service was. So at least they had some kind of mark down so we knew it was there. If not, it would have been a different situation.
Our guys are very experienced. They were able to find that, and we were able to avoid hitting that gas service.
Working with him and different operators, you kind of read your ditches. You obviously go off your mark. Obviously, you got a tolerance zone, 18 inches both sides. So we try to find it within the limits, and if it's not in the limits, we don't try to hit it even though it's not within those limits. We just try to avoid hitting it, so we keep excavating, keep taking it down in layers, shoveling, as much as we got a hand shovel until we find it.
We do an incredible amount of detective work before we ever start digging. Every morning, we pop everything. The electric vaults, you name it, we pop them all.
Every day, I believe, is a learning experience. You always end up learning something new every day. You always encounter something new. It's never the same.
The biggest thing is not only, working safe with the machines that were around and in the excavation, but you also have, pedestrians, you have cars, motorists that don't pay attention to signage, and they go around barrels.
It's constant communication. We're pretty much in sync. We pretty much get along with each other. We communicate well, whether it's verbally or sign language. We pretty much know each other, and we know what we're looking for, and we just have a ball game of what we want to do throughout the day, and we try to work towards that and make it happen.
Benchmark spent more time being focused on preventative damage and creating a better relationship with the utility locating companies and the facility owners, and having more communication and finding where all the facilities are at.
This is very unique. The city is very unique to anywhere else in the country. urban environment like this has a lot of underground infrastructure. I will say that this is probably the most difficult installation of a facility that I've ever encountered. I spent over 30 years working for the gas company in Chicago, and then since then I went on to work on the contractor side, so I've seen it from this side. And again, we work really hard to avoid hitting any of these facilities, and the best way to do it is communication with the locate companies, partnering with the facility owners, and to continue to strive to keep the communication and the partnerships alive and well every day.